When we think of ancient Rome, we often picture magnificent aqueducts, vast empires, and groundbreaking legal systems. A civilization that gave us the concept of innocent until proven guilty, codified laws, and a sense of order that shaped the Western world. But beneath that veneer of grandeur, there was a darker, brutal reality. A system of justice that, for many, was arbitrary, cruel, and wielded with terrifying power. This is not just history. It's a true story, a story of crucifixion, exile, and the unforgiving hand of Roman law. Our story begins in the province of Judea, a distant and often rebellious outpost of the Roman Empire in the early 1st century AD. Unlike other regions, Judea was fiercely monotheistic, deeply rooted in its religious traditions, and often chafed under Roman rule. The Roman prefects, like Pontius Pilate, were tasked with maintaining order, collecting taxes, and upholding Roman authority by any means necessary. This was a land where dissent, even perceived dissent, could be met with swift and brutal consequences. Roman law, while structured, was heavily weighted towards the authority of the state and its representatives. Rights for provincials were limited, and the concept of a fair trial, as we understand it, was often non-existent, particularly when it came to accusations of sedition or disrupting the Pax Romana. It was into this volatile environment that a man named Jesus of Nazareth emerged. He preached a message of love, forgiveness, and a spiritual kingdom, gathering a significant following. But his teachings and his growing influence were quickly perceived as a threat by both the local Jewish authorities and, crucially, by the Roman prefect, Pontius Pilate. The accusations against Jesus were multifaceted. Sedition against Rome, claiming to be king of the Jews, which directly challenged Caesar's authority, and blasphemy in the eyes of the Jewish religious leaders. Under Roman law, claiming kingship without imperial sanction was an act of treason, punishable by death. The charge was clear, even if the evidence, from a modern perspective, was flimsy and politically motivated. Pilate, a Roman governor known for his ruthlessness and pragmatism, was under immense pressure. The last thing he needed was a popular uprising in a province already teetering on the edge. He had to demonstrate his unwavering loyalty to Rome and maintain stability, even if it meant sacrificing an innocent man. The trial of Jesus was a stark demonstration of the dark side of Roman law. It wasn't about justice. It was about power and political expediency. Pilate, despite his initial hesitation, bowed to the pressure of the crowd and the political implications. He famously washed his hands, a symbolic gesture of disclaiming responsibility, but ultimately, he rendered the verdict: crucifixion. Crucifixion was not merely an execution, it was a public spectacle, a brutal display of Roman power designed to terrorize, to humiliate, and to deter any form of dissent. It was reserved for slaves, rebels, and those deemed enemies of the state. It was a slow, agonizing death, a public declaration that Rome would tolerate no challenge to its authority. This wasn't about rehabilitation. It was about absolute control through fear. The crucifixion of Jesus was not an isolated incident, but a grim harbinger of what was to come for his followers. Early Christians, refusing to worship the Roman gods or the emperor, were seen as atheists and traitors to the state. They faced relentless persecution under successive Roman emperors. The methods were varied, all under the umbrella of Roman law. They were thrown to wild beasts in the arenas, burned alive, tortured, and crucially, exiled. Exile was a common Roman punishment. stripping individuals of their citizenship, property, and forcing them into distant, often inhospitable lands. It was a civil death, a way to remove perceived threats without the spectacle of public execution, but no less devastating. Think of figures like John the Apostle, exiled to the island of Patmos, or countless others whose names are lost to history, who were uprooted from their homes and forced to wander simply for their beliefs. The law in this context was a tool of oppression, silencing dissent and enforcing conformity, not through reasoned debate, but through brute force and judicial terror. The story of Jesus' crucifixion and the subsequent persecution and exile of early Christians is a stark reminder that even the most advanced legal systems can be twisted to serve the interests of power. Roman law, for all its innovations, possessed a dark side where political expediency, fear, and religious intolerance could override fundamental principles of justice. It reminds us that law is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for construction or for destruction. The power to judge, to punish, to exile is immense, and its misuse can lead to unimaginable suffering. This true story, etched in the annals of history, serves as a timeless warning. The quest for power, unchecked by true justice and compassion, can lead to the darkest chapters of human experience. What are your thoughts on this dark chapter of Roman law? Do you think justice was ever truly served? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories of history. Thanks for watching.